Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib Open Mic. Feel free to join. I will post the link one more time. Probably post it a couple more times. And we're going to talk about VXP Weekend and what we think we're learning from it. And, the squashing of an undocumented feature if you owned a bat ray. But let me go ahead and introduce everybody from left to right. Toxic.
Good day, everyone. How we doing?
Okay. Magic Mike.
Hello, everybody.
Dr. Death.
Hello.
Ben.
Hello, everyone. If you're in the South, I hope you're in a safe space.
Okay. And this is Hefe. So I've already turned over a dead man switch to Magic Mike. In case I lose power or internet during the show, he will post a link in case anybody wants to join the after show, because it'll automatically shut down about 5 minutes afterwards. And a late joiner, Mr. Renato.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Okay. Okay. And well, should we start with VXP Weekend? I guess we should. There was an undocumented feature that they removed. If you owned a bat ray provides a negative 3,000 damage to the smart torpedoes. So for a while there, if you just parked in the corner and let those torpedoes kill themselves, you would get, with the triple salty, you would get like 29.5, 29.6 thousand VXP for just parking there. And that was removed, which is also highly beneficial to, if you haven't been in the VXP targets recently, pretty beneficial to a lot of people with the razor tail, because those long range smart torpedoes are no longer in the 100 targets. I'm not sure if they're anywhere else because I've only been hitting the 100s, but it was a not so good for some people that own the bat ray. And I don't consider it something to be an exploit until they tell us it's not. It's an exploit. I call them undocumented features personally, but let's go ahead and talk about how everybody's doing on VXP Weekend. Toxic?
I had one run. I've only got 3 of the razor tails, so, and they're all at stars, and they all need 37 more experience to get the third. As far as I got, I've only got one rocket, and then one of them's only got 1 thud on it, so there's nothing else on it except that. So there isn't a great deal to report on my side. I didn't get the full 3 hours of repair time. I guess it's due to my to the research and whatnot done. It ended up being like 5 hours or thereabouts. 4 hours, 5 hours, 4:58 or something like that. That was for 2 of them. Sorry, that was not for 3.
Okay, and you're making, is anybody else hearing this, or is it just me? Is he making like a weird little...
Well, you've got
high-pitched noise sometimes, I hear that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There's something weird going on, Toxic.
Yeah, my headphone does that sometimes. I hope it doesn't do it too often.
Okay. Yeah, I have 4 of the bat rays, and I've have 3 to 4 of the depth charges on there with the hydraulic resistor and the armor special. And personally, at this point, what I'm doing is I'll go in there and suicide it. I'll do 1% repair per ship, which allows me to go back into a target. And then I'll come around the bottom part of the target and attack that battleship or whatever that thing is at the bottom. I'm able to kill that pretty effectively, and it gives you a good amount of VXP for not being fully repaired. So I would recommend that people that have that sort of setup. People are having more or less luck with that with the razor tail. and I'm not sure because I haven't talked to a lot of people after they removed the long range rocket. I'm sorry, long range torpedo. So that's one thing to try if you got the bat ray. I'm not sure. I think Ren, you have the razor tail, don't you?
I do, but I only hit one target, and with 12 hours repair now, I'm slow repairing it. So when I hit it, still had the torpedoes.
Okay.
But because I have some weapons and I did some damage, I managed to score like 74k VXP. So all my ships went to 45% on one hit with
Okay.
triple salty. But now since then it's just repairing, so I haven't hit it afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. But I would recommend at least, I mean, I think, Mike, have you tried that yet? Like what I recommended, getting to about, if you start with the triple salty, giving them about 1% health each, or else you'll get a message that if you just put 10 health on each one, or 1 health on each one, you're going to run into the issue where will not allow you to attack a target. There is a workaround where you can just throw a Conqueror in there, and it has so much armor that you're way over the 1%, and it'll allow you to attack anything. But I'm not sure if people are able to get within that range fast enough before they die with the razor tail.
I am actually trying to do that now because I just had repaired from this morning's run.
Okay. Right.
And just killed them off. And unfortunately, my bad, I forgot to write down how much VXP I got. But after, let me say 2, and I had, I killed it off, and then I put just enough health on each one to be able to use my salty again, and then repaired them fully and just killed them off again. They're all at 66%. If that
Okay.
makes sense.
I think so, but are you going to be doing that soon? Because I would suggest
I'm in
that
the
we
process right now of putting.
everybody else and come back and see.
I put about 8 minutes on the first one
Mm-hmm.
because I want to use the same salty, and I'm going to put about 8 minutes on all of them, and then go try it because I'm going to waste the salty anyway. So.
Okay. Well, sometimes I was, at least with the bat ray, I was able to get through several hits with one salty.
Well, let me just turn some of the bar green then, and I'll just try it. If it lets me launch, I guess that's okay.
No, it's not. It's not the launching. It's the after you launch, it'll let you launch no matter, as long as it's not a sub without any amount of health, as long as it's the flagship is alive. Yeah, it will tell you to, if you try to engage a target, if you have less than 1% health, it will tell you that you need to go back to your base and repair.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
I'll see if I can.
Okay.
If I put a couple of minutes on each one, it's probably good enough. Because I only got 30 minutes left on the salty.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get back to you and see how that works as far as people that own the razor tail. Ben?
Yeah.
How's your VXP weekend going?
I just started it a little bit ago. I missed the undocumented thing.
The undocumented feature? Okay. And so you have bat rays?
Yes. Bat ray. All I have on them is one of the Ripsaw or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And one Gale 3. Nothing else on it.
Okay, so no engine?
No engine, nothing.
Okay.
I just suicided in a 100 with pretty much a dead fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Got almost 11K VXP, but I have a fleet of 5 of them.
Okay, so that's not bad because people have been reporting back to me they've tried it with the razor tail that they're getting like 800, which just implies damage because they didn't have an engine, and there's the 69 range versus the 93 range, and also the well, not anymore, but originally there was the problem with the long range torpedoes killing them off, so it's a little different. Let's go to Dr. Jeff. Let's keep it at this point to how your VXP weekend is going, and then the next topic is going to be like, what do we think we're learning during VXP weekend? That's what it's telling us about the skirmish targets. Because I know you've done a bit of experimentation associated with that, and we'll just keep it to that, and then we'll transition next into what's what are we learning here?
Okay, well, my VXP weekend has been good. I ran 5 bat rays, fully kited out except for armor, and did a bunch of testing. All of them are skulled.
Okay. And did you have any tips besides the undocumented feature as far as, or what I mentioned as far as taking advantage of the fact that you can still accrue the damage that you do as far as VXP with the bat rays, as long as you have the engine and the armor special, at least. I'm not sure if you need the armor special, but that's what I have on my ship. And you're able to accrue a large amount of VXP with a minimal amount of repair. Did you have any other tips on VXP weekend?
Well, I mean, as far as going in, I gave Mike the tip. He tried it and it worked. I mean, you can take a Conqueror hole in there because a lot of times the razors and the rays you're getting hung up, especially if you don't have an engine with the morts coming from those protos.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take a Conqueror in and as soon as you get in and hit the down arrow, drive your fleet down into the corner and then inch the Conqueror up just far enough to activate those protos, you can drive away from your fleet. The protos will all chase that Conqueror hole, and then you can take your fleet around the bottom and sneak it up to where you can get to the ships and actually do some damage so you get that extra VXP.
Okay.
I'm trying it.
That's a very good tip.
I'm sharing and trying it without the Conqueror this time, but there's no mortars firing and there's no torps coming at me, and I have just very minimal health on these. Just
Okay.
enough to let me in.
And it appears that the bottom ship that I was aiming at is gone.
I killed. There's the mortars. The mortars.
There's another
mortars
ship
for a
that's
trigger.
normally on a complete one that's below there. So no. Okay.
Yeah, so you got to have, Mike, you got to have that Conqueror in there so you can draw those protos away so you can get to the fleet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tried,
And the other
you
problem,
tried pinching. Has anybody tried pinching that bottom proto?
Well, the problem is as soon as one proto activates, all 3 of them activate.
Right, but if you're coming in that way, the bottom one's the only one that fired. The rest of them are far enough away where you can drive around the mortars.
That might work.
yeah. And the other issue was that was not a complete target. There's another ship that's below that one that you can usually target. It's a red, like I think they call it a
I killed those
battleship.
on the first run.
Okay, that's the one where you get that's the one I was
Next time I'll
most
try to
easily
search for it
able
if I can find
to
it.
put fire on before they started to put fire on me. So, Father George, how's your VXP weekend?
I've gotten in once and just slow repairing.
Okay.
15 hours of repair. Gotta love it.
Yeah, only about 4, so I don't have that much.
Do you have armor on them, George?
Nope, I got 5 of them.
Wow, 15 hours.
3 hours a pop.
Yep.
How do you get 3 hours?
No, I'm asking because I have 5.2 no armor, and it was 12 hours, 26 minutes, like the actual repair, not the stated repair, because you know that's messed up.
I'm gonna have to check. I just
Yeah.
figured it was
You
15
have
hours because I
officer
had
and
5.
R&D 30, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
So
going to be
you're right.
lower.
So it's like
Stated
12,
repair
13
is
hours.
the
So,
number
okay,
of
13 hours.
3 hours
Thir-
per 15, you're right. But if you have officer and R&D, it's 12 hours and 26 minutes. That's what I got 5 ships to.
So 12 and a half hours. Either way,
Yeah.
they're not repaired. I'm not going
It's
to be able to
still
go in
crazy,
until...
yeah. So it's still too much.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
still
what-
too much.
what
And then
I-
when you have the armor on, it's going to be outrageous.
Yeah, it's going to be like 22 hours with the armor. 20 hours, something like that.
It's 22 and a half.
Yeah, it's the same as the Mana Core. And that's what it was like when Wrong Thinker had his he had a show when he was talking about the skirmish cycle. He said that there was going to be a reduction in repair time associated with that. And I guess, you know, you can consider we haven't seen the targets with our built ships, and maybe there'll be a lower repair time associated with our interaction with the actual raid targets. But the fact that these ships at this point in time, I'm not sure when that's going to change, can interact with more than just the raid targets from, some level 72 with a missile storm cruiser that's just going to come and run you over and you can't hit their base, or these VXP targets where you have these huge repair times that it sort of felt like these were going to get reduced when he said that, and we were going to go back 30%. We still, I mean, are we going back 30% just purely that sort of small part of the game? Well, it's
I think that 30% was build time.
no, he was talking repair time.
I'm pretty sure
No.
when he said that, he was talking about the build
I'm
times.
not. No, he was okay. He was talking about repair times because the questions, because we've seen huge leaps and bounds in repair times associated with the raid. Because once that they got rid of charged armor, they got rid of the healing matrices.
Yeah.
We've gotten rid of all these things that reduced our repair time, and they kept increasing the base repair time of the hull. And that's what people were complaining about when he said that. I mean, I could go back and look up that show, or somebody else can do it because I'm not going to go through all their shows and figure out when he said it. But he was talking about repair time. He was not talking about build time.
I'll give you a comparison on that, right?
Mhm.
I just, by accident, I had my Skyfire fleet completely killed yesterday. And I don't know if you're experiencing that, but I go on auto on an 85, and sometimes it doesn't kill the 85. It parks somewhere and keeps taking fire, and I didn't notice that. And it got damaged to death. So it was 12 hours and 26 hours as well, which is, and my Skyfires, they have 2 charged armor and 2 of that D5 calm that adds 44 minutes, 2 plates per ship. So with that, was under 13 hours to repair the whole thing, and then I can use that trick of like just repairing the flag and taking it into a salvage and letting it transfer health, and it cuts it down even further, right?
Yeah. Well, the
new ship
Skyfire
without armor is 12 hours, so it's ridiculously higher. Sorry, George, go ahead.
But no, the Skyfire had the base of 3 hours as well, but it's we had the retro whatchamacallit thingies to do it better. I think the Skyfires and the Phoenixes are where they
we had
started.
two different things going on with Skyfires. We had the
Right.
reconstruction with the gut spill, and then we had charged armors. So that
And what
Right.
George
Yeah,
says,
right.
the retro for the officer.
What I'm saying, right,
Yeah.
and what I'm saying is the base armor, that was the first set of ships, I think, that went to the 3 hours for the base armor, or the base repair time. And I think the problem is that they're designing these hulls with the raid in mind at half repair, which is all fine and good. They want to make their money, they kind of tune everything, and that's fine. But then we also need to have these, I mean, they designed those targets so we're fully ranked, so we have to rank these things. I mean, either cut us some slack and give us half repair time during the VXP event, or let the VXP event run for the full weekend, because you guys have, doubled and tripled the base repair time, probably starting around then, I think. But we've never seen an increase in time for the VXP weekend, which is just atrocious. I mean, if you're stuck doing 12 and a half hours per hit, right? I mean, you have to coin if you want to get it full ranked.
Yeah,
Or
I have
change
no
the whole
hopes of doing more than 3 hits because I'm not going to coin repair on that.
Yeah,
Or wake up
change
in the middle of the night,
mechanic.
right?
Yeah, or change the whole mechanic on the way the VXP works. Either get rid of it, get rid of the 10 VXP limit for hitting a cargo. Just change that mechanic completely, because it doesn't make any sense anymore. I mean, VXP, the way it was at 75%, was never intended. It's a broken mechanic in the game, and so they could just tune everything accordingly. I mean, I don't, or, I mean, why do we still have this limit of 10 VXP that goes all the way back when we needed like a tenth of the amount of VXP that we need now to rank a ship? That needs a lot of work and a lot of thought to make the gameplay much more equitable, enjoyable, whatever word you want to do to fix it. because I think the VXP is a broken mechanic.
Yeah, it is. But you want to know what's scaring me? I mean, I've got my fleet skull, right? But there are so many players out there that are not going to have their fleet skulled for the raid, just because of the excessive repair cost and the short amount of time that we have the targets available to us.
And I have it. Like I can tell you, since the siege raid from at the beginning of the year and then the assault, I did not have my fleet skulled for the first raid. They were all like at 60 something percent, all of them.
But traditionally, Kixeye always sets the raid to having a skulled fleet.
You're right.
That's going to hurt a lot of players.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to say I agree with you, but I don't think it's such a binary situation. I think if you go without any rank, you're screwed. Forget it. If you get anywhere around 60, it becomes doable.
Well, I think that's going to depend a lot on how the target's tuned too, because I mean, like with the SSRBs, for example, there's a significant difference between 60 and 100. Because I was testing through that whole range. Now, if they tune it so that we're not really, you know, where it's doable, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to depend a lot on the target. I mean, at least with the, you know, with the razors, you can kind of sub a special in to kind of make up for it a little bit. I don't know about the bats. I have to take a look.
You can make up a little bit of that reload by putting on the countermeasure loader 4s.
Yeah.
Or a cluster
Either way,
warhead the rockets.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking for the
The razor tail, right?
Yeah. I just didn't know what you could do for the bat ray if you didn't get them fully ranked. I mean, hopefully everyone, you know, got them ranked this morning, because apparently that was a free for all.
Yeah, it was an undocumented feature. That
wasn't. Look, that's not an undocumented feature. That thing has
that
a
is
health
because
bar.
it,
No, it
What?
has a health bar. It has a health bar. It was coded as a ship that you can't shoot. That's not on. You can't. I mean, someone was saying, "Oh, it's an exploit or a glitch." I'm like, we didn't code this. You know what I mean?
I'm calling it an undocumented feature because they called it an exploit. I mean, until they tell us it's an exploit, yeah, it's an undocumented feature in my mind.
But it's not undocumented and it's not an exploit. If it has health and we do damage to it and VXP weekend, we're supposed to get VXP for it.
And they removed it because they didn't want us getting easy VXP. It's that simple.
That's
They
what
had
it
some revenue expectations, and that little detail that somebody overlooked was going to break their revenue expectations. That's as simple as that. And on the other hand, the razor tail guys were all getting mad because the torpedoes were making it nearly impossible for razor tails
we got
to win.
boned. Yeah, we got boned.
Yeah.
But then on the on the flip side of the coin, that and I posted this a couple places, it kind of pissed me off. It just goes to show that once again, if there's something going wrong in the game that's hurting Kixeye, they find a way to fix it that day. But if it's something that hurts the players, fuck us.
I own the bat ray, so I was at the advantage, but it was still hurting the player base. Half the player base that claimed it, because we
Half
saw
a
about
third, however many. Yeah.
Well, if half of the people that claim, whatever number of people that claimed the razor tail, they were getting screwed in multiple ways.
Oh, I know they were getting screwed.
I saw about a 2-to-1 bat tail versus razor. So it's like a third of the player base has the razor tail, everyone else has the bat ray. That's what I've been seeing on all the like polls and all that other shit everyone's been putting up.
Yeah, so Kixeye was standing to lose some money over that, what they called a glitch, where they just screwed up on their programming is what it is. And the bottom line, it just makes me mad. Like the Hyper 30, how many months has it been broke?
Well, how many months has PvP been broken?
Exactly. So things that are affecting the player base negatively are not a priority. If it's something that affects, but Kixeye's shown, because just today, if it affects them negatively, it's something that they can find a way to fix it immediately.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, this isn't one of those things where the whole player base was doing okay. This is one of those instances where part of the player base was doing great and part of the player base was getting screwed. Is sort of what I was,
Yeah, but look, at this point, it's done. and over. But the thing is as a company, the response is what's important. And this is where Kicksai's got to start learning. I mean, the dwindling numbers should tell them everything. This is where they have to start learning to go, hey, you know what? We're just going to have to take it in the teeth, suck it up, and make our customers happy and do something. I mean, that's what should happen. That's how good customer service is. You know, there's a reason why everyone flocks to Disney, because even though you pay, you know, $1 bajillion to go, you're happy paying them that money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no
Same thing if
resentment
it's
there.
Spearmint Rhino. But go ahead.
I don't even want to know. Just...
But I did notice some things in my testing today in the targets. One, you can't kite really anything in there. They've all got either equal to or longer range than what even the Bat Ray does with the 93.
Yeah, and they're fast.
And the subs, I took and changed engines 3 times in my testing today. I started out with hydro resistors, and I just was completely overrun by the subs. I could not shake them for nothing. So then I switched over to speed 6. Speed 6 got up to full speed, and still the stupid subs were running circles around me.
You know what I did notice, and I'm a little upset about this, is that I went in to test whether or not the Reapers in the targets were shallow dive like ours. They're not. Surface weapons don't affect them, which really annoys me.
And I thought they would.
I really thought they would too, because that would, and it's I don't know, it's weird, because I was hoping I have to go in and test if I can actually get something out and repaired. I'm going to test to see if effects work while they're underwater. That's the last thing that I have to test. But yeah,
Yes, they do.
Surface effects affect them while they're still underwater?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. That's what I needed. That saved me something. So I got something to try. No, I know your response. I already know about that.
Okay, yeah. It worked.
That I tested early, yeah. I have another idea as well.
And then also another tidbit for people that are going to be hitting the razor tail targets with the subs. I know it'll only work on one, but the old depth charge rockets, if you use a small one, it pops them up for 4 seconds.
You're talking about the cryonic?
No, the depth charge rocket on your launch pad.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yes.
That'll pop them up, and they stay up for 4 seconds with a small. I don't know if getting a bigger rocket will get them to stay up longer, because there's nothing on the blueprint that says it will, so I haven't tested that. But I do know a small one brings them up for 4 seconds.
Yeah, you cannot hit them all, but you can hit a couple and take less damage. That's good. Right?
Yeah. But I'm telling you, if these ships are the way they're going to be in the raid targets, if they're not going to be tuned down, I really don't see our fleets being able to hit both targets. You know,
yeah,
I don't think
they have to be. They have to be tuned down, or something changed in their mechanic. I think these VXP weekends are just designed to kill our stuff as fast as they can, so they make more money.
Yeah, because they're going to have to do something, because I don't think if they don't change, if the ships come into the targets for the raid the way they are now, Bat Rays will not survive a razor tail target.
Because of the Reapers.
Because of the Reapers.
Now, that strategy guide said that the way to counter the Reapers was to sit right on top of them. Did you try that?
Well, yeah, but the damage that their torps are doing to you is so high that getting in on top of them, you've already lost a half a fleet.
Right. Now, I wonder if the difference is if these targets are all way too buffed up, or if it's because we did the math the other day that probably they're doing like 1 million damage per torp or whatever, because they're all expecting us to come in at 99 point whatever % resistance. And of course, now everybody's running without armor, so we're not there. We're like at 97, 92, 93. And if they're really dealing a million.
No, because my one hull was running 98 and 97 without armor. But I also got the 5 stacking bonus.
You
Did you
did.
take that into account? So that should have pushed me up to 99.
You're right. You're right. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Even though I didn't have armor, I still should have had at least 99 resist on my stats. But the
Yeah.
thing, and another thing I noticed too in the target is that the torps, it's going to make it difficult to build. You're going to have to build specifically for each target because, like, the smart torpedoes in the Ray, on the ships that are going to be in the Ray target, those are splash-based weapons. But the torpedoes that are coming off the Proto and the torpedoes that are coming off of the subs are accuracy-based. They're not splash. I tested that specifically. I killed one down to where there was just one Reaper left in it. Let that thing fire at me, killed it off, took my fleet out. I had 2 ships that had 0 damage on them and 3 ships that were damaged. And they were all stacked. The only way that could happen is if it was accuracy and not splash. So the subs are not firing a splash-based weapon.
Which then mean evade becomes important.
Right, but the protos also, but for like the bat ray owners, right? When they go into the target, they've got the smart torps, which are splash based, but then the proto is also non-splash. It's an accuracy weapon. That's going to make it a little bit more tricky for players to play around with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's harder to find out the balance between splash damage reduction and evade, right?
But now that was another thing I tested too. I tested the Hyper 30. I put the Hyper 30 on 2 holes and went in and played around with the target. Come back out. No difference whatsoever on the damage my ships took. When I went in and had a proto mass let it fire at me. And even though I had the gales, I had 4 gales on, occasionally one of the morts would get through, right? And so I pulled out after doing that test. And when I took and pulled out after doing that test, all my ships from just being hit by the morts had the exact same damage, even though 2 of my ships had a Hyper 30 on it. And also I got that skirmish battery on there too. So I should have had a 49% splash resistance on those 2 holes.
Right.
But there was
And by the way, that was my experience back in August with the Manticores when I added Hyper 30 to 2. And I saw absolutely 0 difference consistently across many target hits being hit. So I did an average 0 difference. But then they said, okay, it's broken. And I say it's fixed. So it should have a difference.
But it apparently isn't fixed because with the testing I did today, I was not getting any damage reduction at all with the SP30s. And so I don't know what's going on with the target, but they got to figure something out. I mean, if they're going to tell us something's fixed, then we should be seeing a benefit from that fixed tech. Especially if if everybody's looking at putting that in their build to try and, reduce damage when the raid starts. You're going to have a lot of pissed off players if everybody starts having to refit the first day of the raid to take that thing back off and put a special that actually works on.
Yep. No doubting that as far as, because the Hyper 30 looks like it should work for this target, but it's broken, and they say it's fixed. And how much test is it fixed or not? As far as the splash damage reduction,
I haven't had a chance to actually test it.
Like I said,
This will be like my 4th or 5th time testing this shit.
Yeah, I ran. Like I said, I went in there. We killed down one of the 100s to just leaving a proto in there, and then I went back. I went in my base. I coined the repairs on my fleet. I took and coined to refit 2 Hyper 30s on just 2 ships. Put them in 4th and 5th slot on my fleet. Went back in, activated the proto, and just let it sit there and pound on me. It took a few minutes for it to actually get through my gales. 4 gales is enough to shoot down most of the morts, but occasionally one gets through. So you'll either need 5 or 6 to clear them all out.
Was that just one proto, or was that all 3 of them?
No, that was just one proto.
Okay.
And then after it had hit me a few times and I saw my damage bar go down, so I knew I had taken damage, I then went ahead and killed the proto off, took my fleet back into the base to see how much the difference was between the 3 without Hyper 30 and the 2 that had Hyper 30 was. And the 2 that had Hyper 30 had the exact same damage as the 3 that didn't.
Oh my.
So the Hyper 30 is not working yet.
Well,
Even
as
though
far
they,
as we know, let me qualify that and ask you because you've been testing, so I want to hear from you. So the speed buff should be there because I tested that before. Is that the ships don't let you see that because they force everybody to the slowest ship. But the speed bonus is there. Any idea if the evade bonus from the Hyper 30 is working?
I don't know because the accuracy-based torps seem to always hit me, and my wife kind of tell on myself. My wife caught me using my CC card today doing this testing. Got a little bit upset, and I lost my card, so I couldn't I couldn't do my last refit to test evade out in the target because I was going to put a ship out with over 70 evade on it and see if that would make some of those torps miss.
Yeah,
But
if they haven't broken it, it did work last time I tested it.
Okay.
Granted, that's a big if, but
Well, it's entirely possible, given that like you said, with your 5 ships, you would have 99 whatever % resistance on both. Maybe we're just dealing with a minimum damage thing, and any further attempts to mitigate it aren't really going to do anything.
yeah, but if that's the
They should
case,
overcome that.
I don't think they're going to have a minimum damage that high.
Why?
No, I think it's going to be all on the resistance. So I'm thinking because I saw the speed in which those ships today destroyed any other ship. There is even Conquerors, like they're easily doing, like I'm gonna say here 1 million damage, but that's a guess, but it's probably not too far off. And it's not based on minimum damage, just based on a ridiculously high amount of damage per shot.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Well,
I was just gonna say, then you need that 99 point whatever, and in that case, 99.2 versus 99.6 will make a difference.
Yeah, I just wanted to add in that I actually did test a couple Conquerors in there, and they got absolutely trounced.
Yeah, mine died from the volley from the Proto Nemesis. That volley of mortars destroyed my Witch Doctors. Boom, and they had like decent resistance for concussive and stuff like that.
I would like to, George, while we're in the subject of talking about these things, why don't you? Because I've seen a lot of people that are real confused about this, and I know you're pretty smart about this topic, so I'll give it to you. Explain to people why the Night Watch will not work in this target.
Okay, this one. So intuitively, it should, because a mortar's a mortar. It gets shot down. It gets shot down. The way the mechanic works, as we've seen in the past, going all the way back to what was it? The Buck and Hydra targets, right? The weapons that they've been coding are tuned or are actually listed as they're coded for a certain type of countermeasure to affect them or attack them, be able to shoot them down. The mortars on the protos can only get shot down by anti-mortars. You can't use a CM weapon type to shoot them down. That's what the catch is. So anything countermeasure type is not going to shoot them down. That makes sense? Is that clear enough?
I think so. I mean, to elaborate, so if you used the D85D or whatever it was, like an old PVE mortar in a base, is it going to have a harder time shooting that down than say?
No, I think they split the way. I think they changed the way that they were coding the NPC weapons when the Buccaneer and Hydra came out. I think that's when it started, when we couldn't do, like, missiles were getting shot down by sprints but not by phalanxes, because they could get shot down by a countermeasure weapon damage type but not an anti-penetrative damage type. And that's what we're seeing with the mortars in the proto now, is the mortars are going up, but you can't shoot them down with a typical, like a Night Watch will not shoot them down.
Yeah, they were hitting a dead end with the countermeasures overall in game because of the way they were originally coded. And a few months ago, they recoded, as George said, they recoded the countermeasures. Like, one thing they changed was something we used to take advantage of in FM with the Zealous built-in countermeasure, able to shoot both mortars and missiles.
Yep.
There was the whole tagging, non-tagging thing where Gales would shoot multiple times at the same mortar, Phalanxes would shoot only once at a missile, but the Zealous guy would shoot multiple times at the same missiles because it didn't tag them. So when they did that kind of recoding to solve that problem, they moved a lot of the properties from the countermeasures, the weapons, to the projectile. So now the determination whether or not something should be tagged and something can be fired, can be countermeasured by this or that, it's not with the weapon anymore, the countermeasure weapon or anti-mortar or anti-missile weapon, it's with the projectile. And so now they can be very, very, very specific to say, oh, this thing coming out of the proto-nemesis cannot be shot by anti-missiles, cannot be shot by anti-rockets, cannot be shot by countermeasures, can only be shot by anti-mortars. And can or cannot be tagged. In that case, it's not tagged, so you can shoot multiple times at them. It's all in the projectile now.
Yeah, which doesn't affect the older stuff. So
No.
the older stuff doesn't get,
Just the hybrid things like Night Watch and that thing that came with the Curator later, whatever.
Yeah.
The whatever that thing's called. Yeah. Does that thing work at all?
Which?
The one that shoots down launchers and
stuff.
ballistic and
Hell yes.
Yes, it does.
Hell
It
yes.
makes a difference.
Okay. Just checking because I asked that question several times and everybody was like, I don't know. So I was just checking.
I remember when you asked, I think I told you I was refitting a couple of them onto something for a test, and yeah, they worked well.
And they work well on the Curator, right? Because the Curator has a much higher reload than the Warden does.
Yeah, I was using it offensively.
The Curator or the special, you mean, that comes with the Curator, that came with the countermeasure?
No. If you take a look at the Curator versus the Warden, as far as the base reload of countermeasures, it's 100%
in the hull, you
different.
mean? In the
Yeah,
actual
the hull, it's 100% difference.
Because the special also has something. The special that came with the Curator was like plus 85, and the special that came with the Warden was plus 65. So that's also better.
Okay.
Jefe, I don't know if you want to introduce that, but I had the spreadsheet here ready to share, comparing for Razortail owners, cluster warhead versus war reloader. If you want to bring that tonight, I have it ready here. Up to you.
Okay, I'll put you on present. We can do whatever. You're on present, Rad. Do you feel nervous?
No, not really.
Is there sweat running down your back? Okay, you're on present.
Can you see the spreadsheet?
I think everybody can.
Okay. So just was discussing on the, what's it called, the Discord strategy channel today about whether to use cluster warhead or war reloader. I put this together like in the last 20-30 minutes actually. So maybe there's mistakes, but salve on the needler, reload, and base damage here.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have each special, what they bring to the table up here, right?
Yeah. And
looking at the Razortail at 75% rank, and it has a base explosive damage bonus of 250. I'm considering just one rocket on each ship to get started.
Mm-hmm.
So with one rocket, with cluster warhead, the base damage at that point, because it doesn't add any damage, is 98,000. With warhead reloader, adds 25% plus the 250, so you get to 105. If people care, here we're not talking about a deflection game. I just put the damage per projectile here for the sake of it. The cycle time of the weapon. So with cluster warhead, if I did the calculation right, to get the cycle time at 1.32 seconds. That's all the salvos plus the reload time until it starts firing again.
And you're assuming what for salvo reload time?
0.2.
Okay. I mean, because there's, it may not. I mean, I've talked about this before. We probably don't need to get into it, but it could be, 0.1.
But then, even if it's 0.1, in the end, I think the same rule here stands because it's proportionally changed for both, right?
Yeah.
Well, reload versus cycle time would change, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if I go here on my formula, okay,
Mhm.
and I change from 0.2 to 0.1 here, and I also go and change here to 0.1, final result, it's still the same. Cluster warhead wins.
Okay.
Right? That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So for the sake of the argument here, which special is better? With a cycle time of, that you gain with cluster warhead versus a cycle time that's longer that you have with the warhead reloader, despite the 25% damage gain, the DPS, it's 74,000 with cluster warhead versus 66.8 with warhead reloader. For one rocket, if you put 8 rockets per ship, and you're talking about 60,000 damage gap from one special to the other. So would you guys agree that cluster warhead is the winner here?
Yeah.
Okay. Just because I had some people arguing in favor of warhead reloader today, and I wanted to hear from you guys.
It just assumes there's no deflection or something tricky going on.
Yeah,
Right.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, if there's some deflection going on that we're not aware of, that could really change the math here significantly, because we're dealing with, multiple projectiles versus, many projectiles versus less projectiles. And that could change things. I'm not saying that's what's going on. It's just things that we don't know in the game, to be honest.
No, you're right. It assumes, there's no deflection. If it's all resistance based on their side too, and what matters DPS, then this guy, cluster warhead, wins on the DPS side.
Cool.
Okay, no, that's it. That's just what I wanted to share.
Okay, I'll take you off present then.
Thank you.
No problem. It's all good.
Hey, Ren, just out of curiosity, can you pop in the D100V in that calculation?
Yep, no problem. And the D100V was something Brian and I were playing with because it gets really interesting. But what killed, even the, what's it called, twin fire, because it has one salvo less, was actually at high ranks. It beats the Needler in DPS.
It beats
Until we found out.
The twin fire beats the Needler in DPS. The point where I just crashed everything was because the Needler has no splash fall off.
Right.
And the twin fire falls off to 75%. So forget it. But a high rank actually, because the salvo goes down by 1 here. So you can see, I think that if somebody has the game open, the twin fire, if I remember well, it's 26,800.
25. Do you want the numbers? I'm actually in the game. I was going to read you.
Yeah, if you can for the twin fire.
You want twin fire first? Excuse me. The damage is 25,750. It's a salvo of 5 with a reload of 4.
So you see how the DPS here, it's higher, 642. We were talking 593 before, now it's 642 with the twin fire. That's not, I didn't change the name.
We can't see you. Yeah, we can't see you anymore, I don't think. But let me, while I got the game up, let me read you.
If FL wants, I can share my screen again.
Yeah, let me see. Are you ready for the D100V?
Okay, so you guys can see my screen now if I'm sharing. Okay, so let me save this on the side here. In here because I don't know.
Yeah, I can't. I'm in the game, so I can't see anything right now. So just something.
Okay, so I was 6 and 28. Okay, I'm ready for the V now.
Okay, the V is a damage of 11,844 with a salvo of
11,844.
Yep. And then the salvo is 3. And the reload is 2. 2. 2, yep. Okay. And you get a bonus combat speed.
Yeah. So it's comparable to the Needler. Like the difference is less than 20K in DPS.
Yeah, but how much of a fall off does it have?
We don't know.
I think it's between 50 and 75. It tested close to the Twin Fire.
Yeah, the Twin Fire, we know it's 75, and that's a stat that should be on every single freaking rocket and mortar in the game.
Yeah, well,
And
I mean,
depth charge, anything with flash. But
yeah,
anyways.
we've been asking that for what, 2 years now.
Yeah.
Is that damage per projectile on the G column for the D100V?
Yes.
So 14,805. See, I'm just kind of curious because just from some testing in this month's targets, I have this odd feeling there is some sort of deflection going on. I'm not sure if it is for sure because it's really hard to test for it. So sometimes that just, I don't know, that damage per projectile sometimes kind of calls to me a little.
Well, now I got a question for you. I don't know if you can work this into your spreadsheet or not, but will there be at such a high or such a low salvo and reload on these ships, will there be any benefit whatsoever from like Countermeasure 4 is giving that 25% reload?
If you use the Warhead Reloader, it makes a difference, yes. Because
No, I'm talking about a different special. I'm talking about the Countermeasure Reloader.
So am I.
If you stack that on top of the cluster or the Warhead.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? Which would give an extra 25% reload.
Yeah, so instead of 210, I would be at 235, for instance.
Right, so how would that affect the numbers?
DPS goes up by a little bit. And the cycle time, goes down a little. So does it make a difference? Yeah. Is it a huge difference? No, but it makes a difference. It's still, what I'm trying to say is, because the Needler has a 4-second reload time, even with Cluster Warhead 3, you're still not hitting the minimum reload of 0.2. You're still far from that. So if you add 25, does it still present a gain? Yes. If you go with the 100V, probably not, because you're going to be hitting the 0.2 barrier.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Thank you.
No problem. Just trying to do so. This is with the 100V. Here I want to move back to the Needler. Okay, so you guys still see my screen or not?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the number for the Needler, 593,534. And you see per projectile, 17.5. Now we go here, I'm gonna copy this, just the DPS, copy. I'm gonna go down here, place special values, just to compare. There, do you see that? Very, very comparable, the D100 and the Needler. It's almost a tie. It's 2K difference per second. Because the cycle time with only 3 salvo and 2 reload is so much faster, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering though if the speed boost you get wouldn't be worth it.
Could be. Now then I ask if the fall off of the splash is too big, then may still be worth it sticking with the Needler.
Right. Yeah, the splash fall off's huge. 75 to 100 is huge. I mean, take that I mean, just for shits and giggles, for a quick comparison, take 25% off of that number so you can see what you're doing at the edge of your splash compared to the other, right?
Yep, so let's say this 11,000, I'll take a quarter of it, which is about nearly 3K, right? So that becomes 8 point something at the edge of the splash zone. Now look at the DPS difference. Huge. From 593 to 441. That's what you would see at the edge of the splash area for each projectile hitting the water versus at the center.
Well, and it's linear too, so that drop off begins from the center going out too. That's
Yeah.
that's across the entire
2
splash
pixels
zone.
to the right, 2 pixels to the left, it's already less.
Yep. So that's why that fall off of 100% fall. God, I don't know why they started calling it fall off. Minimum splash percentage is
I call
100%.
DK, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's either way, you don't lose anything throughout the splash range with the Needler where you do with the other ones. That also has to get taken into account.
Yep, that's the killing factor in favor of the Needler. If not, the Twin Fire would be a better bet overall. Or the D100V even.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, at least they got this one, you know, in the same area, if not better. I mean, it was a worry, I think, at the beginning. Now, the other thing is too is I hope people are also looking at other weapons to help boost, you know, what they're planning on doing. Because I know I am definitely putting at least a lockdown on mine.
And a recondite.
Yeah, I had that originally in my builds, and I'm kind of looking at it, and I'm not sure yet.
Right now I have one of each. You know, we'll see
Yeah.
if it makes a difference. They're not that hard to refit if you need it.
Yeah, and the good thing with the recondite too is it's actually kind of comparable. I mean, it does what, like 10, 11K on a reload of like 2. I mean, that would be it's not going to come out near as good as the 100V because that has a salvo of shit. Was it 5 or 6? Something like that. I mean, it's not bad, but it's definitely not in the same class as these 3. But it also has that really cool, you know, reload effect.
Yeah, and if those guys don't have any sort of resistance to that, I mean, it makes a big difference adding that reload modifier in there.
I mean, how would you get a resistance to it? It's not a field. You know what I mean?
But if you're unreactive, doesn't it reduce the time it affects you for how long it affects you?
Yeah, that's true. The stack durations goes to 0. That's
Yeah.
true.
So if they are fully unreactive, it shouldn't make a difference. If they're not, at least for half a second, for 1 second, they get a reload debuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what the hell. I mean, we had that launcher that did accuracy, but that's not the launcher. The thrower. That's
Polonium thrower.
It's for Conqueror and Defenders only, though. Do we have anything else that affects accuracy?
There's a cannon, a very old cannon that affects accuracy.
Oh yeah, that's right. The hell is that? The
Came about the same
eggs.
time as the D33 DR or something.
Scrambled eggs. The Scrambler. That's what it was.
Yeah, the Scrambler. Yeah.
Yep. But that one's like, it's not like the throw. That one's like only 5% a hit, right? Something like that.
Yeah, but it hits real fast, so it keeps stacking. Should keep stacking.
I might have to try adding one of those, and I might try one of those on each one instead of the recondite. Because if you have a high evade ship and you're affecting the accuracy, it compounds as it goes. The only catch is
somehow affecting the Reapers, because if
that's
the Toxic was saying about the Reaper being the ship firing accuracy-based torpedoes.
Right, and that's why I was wondering if they actually were being affected by effects while it was still underwater.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking about, because I wanted
seem to be affected by the lockdown.
Perfect. So then I'm going to throw one of these things on each hull, because they're going to get that first shot off one way or another, with or without the recondite. The catch is if I'm running evade, which is my build is heavyish on evade, and then I do this on top of it. Yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll definitely be interesting. That might actually work better for the bats, because they're getting rid of the smart torpedoes, because you're not going to be able to reach the smart torpedo firing ships with this before they fire the smart torpedoes. But where the bats destroy the bats destroy those smart torpedoes, and they just have to worry about the dumb torpedoes. And if you can adjust the accuracy with this, that's interesting. I think I'm going to change my recondites out for that. One day, I wish I had a calculator for my accuracy somewhere. A 5% reduction in accuracy when you're running like 70% evade. Yeah, that'll add up. I mean, we've seen just a 5% do massive amounts of difference going the other way with the Zealous when we were doing the countermeasures and stuff. So that's definitely something to look into. Live refits, folks. Live refits.
So here you go. If you guys, if you still see my screen, comparison between the 3 rockets and the 2 specials. You should not read damage.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's a weird thing to show because you know, as you know, Ren, you know the difference between the needle, you know, the damage they actually do associated with splash fall off is not included here, right?
No, again, that's why the title is at point of impact.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
Yeah. Okay.
At the edge, the needler keeps the same number. The twin fire and the D100V will go down big time. So here, at edge of splash, and just at least for the twin fire, we can do that, right?
Yeah, if that's the way it works. I mean, we don't really know the way it works, but yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to use what Kixeye said, that the needler has 0, so it keeps the same numbers, right? And the twin fire loses 25%, so it's times 0.75. Okay. Now, if I assume the, what's its name? 100V is the same thing. Could be worse. For we simply don't know. And that's what you have. You see, it's then a huge difference, right?
Yeah, 6-pack is actually. How about the narrow fire special? That could make a difference. We don't know the exact mechanics of how this works. Is Ren put it at the edge of splash versus, because we don't know, sort of parabola, how this works as far as like
splash fall off is linear.
Okay, so it's linear based on distance from the impact point.
Yeah,
correct.
Okay. I mean, at the center, it's the full damage. At the edge, it's the number you have there, 75% of the center. So halfway through, you're going to be losing half the damage.
Okay. So narrowing the spread is, the narrow fire special, I don't see it working. Unless you guys.
Sorry, you don't see what working?
What is it? The narrow firing aperture. Is that going to help you?
I would much rather use explosive system.
Yep.
Explosive system it's more splash than narrow firing aperture. You also have concentration of fire, and you gain projectile speed. Well, I don't see a reason to use an FA unless you're going overweight. That one's a bit lighter.
See, I might go with combustion system because we don't have any fall off at all, so we don't really have to focus the fire rate because you're going to have the same rate of damage across the entire span. So I want to extend my damage area in that instead of what I mean.
Yeah. What I did on my Razor Tails, I have 2 ships with Gales, so those 2 have countermeasure loaded. The other 2 ships just for fun, I put combustion system 2 on one, explosive system 4 on the other one.
So you get to test her in the raid.
Yeah, so you know, they're all gaining splash. Their projectile speeds are slightly different, but one's concentrating, the other spreading. So I'm just trying to hit everyone everywhere.
Yeah, no, I mean, I build the same way. First month, I built the test, and I was just playing around with the accuracy stuff. And if they start out with 150% accuracy, right, and you have an evade of 70, their actual accuracy is 45%. If you got those cannons and you adjust their accuracy down just to 125%, their accuracy goes down to 38%. And if you get the full 40% that cannon offers, brings them down to 110%, and it cuts them down to an actual 33% accuracy. So they're only going to be hitting 1 out of every 3. That's really interesting.
Can I just interrupt for a sec?
Yeah, man.
Let me just see if I get this right. If I use the needler rockets, I want to cut down my spread.
No, you want to increase your spread.
I guess the right answer about spread is we don't really know.
Well, it has the same damage all over.
So you're talking about splash. We want to increase splash.
You want to increase the spread.
The splash.
Yes, that as well. But what I'm saying is, you want to increase the spread on the twin fire and on a D100, so that you got a bigger spread. You got more chance for projectile actually hitting and doing more damage than at the edge, right, of the splash.
No, you're doing the same damage at the edge of your splash as in the center of your splash with the needler.
With the needler, yeah. So you want to narrow it for that one.
So
No.
For me personally, I don't take that into account when I decide whether I want to increase or reduce spread. What I take into account is what's the speed of the enemy. So if they're moving too fast, I usually try to increase the spread. So even if I'm firing where they are not there anymore, they're ahead, with bigger spread, I still hit them a lot. Or if I have a bunch of ships in a close area or turrets and I want to aim at one and hit them all, then I increase spread. If I'm going against one single enemy, I usually want to concentrate fire, then I reduce spread. That's more or less my thinking.
Yeah, and the other thing I think you know, but you didn't mention was projectile speed.
Yeah, that's why I turned that into the enemy speed, because the enemy speed defines how important that is.
Well, we know those Reapers are fast.
Yep. But then it's like, do I want to increase my projectile speed, or do I want to hit them with lockdown rockets? I think it's easier to have a couple lockdowns in the fleet if they work effectively and slow them down, so I don't need to waste a special slot on projectile speed.
Well, never mind. Doesn't one do both splash and projectile speed? High explosive 4 or?
Yeah, no, explosive system 4 is great.
Both,
That's
yeah,
what I'm saying.
explosive system 4 and combustion system both have projectile speed and splash. One has an increase in spread, one has a decrease in spread.
Bingo. So the question is just like, between the two is pretty much like, do you want to increase or decrease spread? And I think that's what we were discussing here.
Okay, so good. I'm sorry. I'm more, trying to make sure the puppy gets to go to the bathroom before things go to crap.
Well, my personal opinion on that for these targets, based on the grouping of the ships, I would want to increase my spread.
Could be.
Because they're not coming at you. You're not facing one at a time.
It depends on how much spread you have total. That's the other catch. You have to kind of do the math, because if say your total spread, right, or your actual spread from center is 20 and your splash ends up being 23, you can afford to go and increase your spread, right? But if say your splash is only 10 and your spread is already 20, you need to narrow the spread out a little bit, because you want to make sure you have full coverage. That's what you want. That's what you're aiming for, is the full coverage.
And George, if you don't have the numbers, if I remember right, the Needler is 17 splash, 150 spread.
150. That's what? Crap.
That becomes 30 spread and 17 splash.
So, okay, so 30. So let's see, what's 150 and 20%? Go to the extreme first. Oops. I probably should learn how to do math, huh? 150.
Yeah.
30, so that's 180 divided by 5 is, so that'd be 36. So for the Needler, if you used the wave diver and combustion system together, you'd end up having a spread of 36 from center with a splash of 43. So you would
That's
have
good.
full coverage. You'd have full coverage end to end, and I mean that's not bad right there. If you go from one edge to the one extreme to the other, 36, that's 72. So you can have a little bit of gap from end to end, but I mean that's also the outliers too, so it's not really a big deal. That's not that bad. And then go back here and do explosive system. Where's that one? I can never find this damn print in this freaking. They've got to do something about these stupid things. Where in the hell is it? Oh, we got way too many fucking specials in here now, for crying out loud.
And no way of
like
filtering them.
280 some specials.
Yeah, we can't
we
sort
need
these
to-
things. Trying to find this shit is like,
And
golly.
we need to be able to identify them by site, not by name. So you can't say, hey, put this on. And I'm like, oh, you need to tell everybody what it looks like too. Yeah, it's a little crazy.
So that brings
Oh
it to
my goodness, it's
20
finally getting closer. I think this storm is sped up.
24.
They
Because
should
we're starting to get rain and much higher winds.
What the hell is the splash on this 142? Ren, what'd you say?
I think it's too
17
bad,
for the
Hefe.
splash?
Yeah, no, I think what you did first, like with combustion system 2 and wave diver, you're at 152 splash on top of 17, right? So yeah, you had it right, because it's 17 times.
No, I'm doing the if you do the explosive system, because remember how I said if you go end to end, you're still going to have a gap because you have to double that spread to see if you have rockets landing on the extreme edges, right?
Right.
If you use the explosive system 4, you have a spread of 24 with a splash of 41. So end to end, you only have a gap of what, 48.7?
No, so the 41, isn't that the radius? So you're covered.
Gap to gap, 24 is 48. You have a gap of 7. Yeah.
No, not even 7. I mean, if it's 41, you want to divide that by 2, is 20.5, and you're inside a circle of 24. The gap is like 3.5 for whatever falls at the opposite edges. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, opposite edges. Am I doubling? I'm doubling it in my head, ain't I?
I think so. You may be right, and I'm
7.
cutting in half, but it's
I
either
don't know.
3.5 or 7. You're right.
Yeah. So it's a smaller gap. Now the catch is, of course, how many go out to that extreme. That's the other thing, because you have an axis of 5 for the spread, so you're not going to have that many.
No, I mean, let's say 5 ships with 8 rockets each. That's 40 rockets. I mean, for every pair hitting at the extremes, you're going to have 20, 30, 40 projectiles hitting in the middle.
Yeah. So either one of these is a good special.
Yeah, I would go combustion system in that case, just because you gain more splash.
Yeah, and the errant rockets have a better chance of actually hitting. I mean, the fact that there's no fall off is huge on this rocket.
Yeah.
It'll let you play with a whole lot of stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, and that's why I'm not putting my gales spread equally on all holes, and I just put them on 2. And those guys have CML. But the other ships, I just wanted to put like combustion system or explosive system, one of these 2, just to have huge
play around, yeah.
splash.
Yep.
Now, the one lesson I learned from the VXP target I hit is, if you're gonna go on auto, you abso-freaking-lutely need tactical field resistance with the razor tails. Otherwise, those torpedoes, smart torpedoes, will keep hitting you and hitting you and hitting you, and you're never gonna be able to make it to the enemy ships.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. But we also don't know if these are the targets, right?
Oh, they're certainly not a final version.
Yeah. I don't know. I always am hesitant when I find a target where they activate at a certain point. I mean, I enjoy those because I usually find something that I can do in them. I don't know that they want to, I thought they learned their lesson with this kind of stuff before, but we'll see.
Well, you
Maybe
can
they
bet
did.
there's gonna be some P clouds in it and whatnot.
Well, it's not that. I mean, when the what was it? The Hellwraiths? Is that the one that I freaking gave him a headache? I mean, that one at one point, I don't know if anyone remembers the open test servers on that one. When we first started the first version of that we did, you remember everything activated all at once? That was a mistake. That was a big mistake. And I'm kind of wondering if there's a way to actually drive well enough to get everything activated, and then because I was able to move fast enough where the smart torpedo was chasing me, and as I turned, it didn't turn as well as I did, so I could gain on it a couple of times. And if you can activate everything and kind of circle the map, you might be able to get everything stacked together, drop a pinch, and wail on them, because you are using splash weapons. I mean, just a theory, but that's why I always I salivate when I see activation targets like that where everything activates at once.
Well, no, they don't all activate at once in the VXP target.
If you go right down the dead center, I thought all three of them did. There's three groupings. You activate the middle one, and the other two activate as well.
No, you can actually you can go forward and activate the protos by themselves, and then you can activate each of those three groups by themselves.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
even
because that's
better.
what I was doing. That's how I was getting my testing done. I was picking the target apart.
Oh, that's very interesting.
And in case anybody did not know, I know there were questions about it. Yes, you still get the 3 Defender VXP tokens from the target if you kill it.
You're probably the only guy who killed one.
Yeah.
Probably true there. How much? Anybody know how much thermal is on the proto? I need to actually get into these targets and stop playing with them. I mean, what the hell? I just suicided it because I was working. I probably should take a look at these things. Crap. I don't suppose anybody's tried bringing a sub in there at all.
Yes, I have.
You have. Where'd you die?
Immediately the smart torpedoes got me with Fang.
So something definitely has thermal. Okay. Crap.
So if something's seeing you immediately upon entrance and firing already at you, that means pretty much subs are visible everywhere.
Yep.
Meaning either fangs are totally not an option, or of course they're going to dump it down in the level 60s targets, so the fangs are an option.
Yeah.
And I would hope so.
And my prototypes did okay in it too.
Really? See, I've been hearing that the prototypes have been getting eaten up in them.
I had 2 prototypes with some Conquerors in a mumbo jumbo fleet just because of the crew. The 2 prototypes actually made it to the point where they were able to fire a couple rounds before dying a horrible death.
Yeah, same happened to me.
So they were able to cross the screen, which is more than I can say for most other ships.
Yet they did die a horrible death, though, right?
Oh,
yeah. I mean, the moment something fired at them and they were not moving anymore, they were done.
Yeah.
But they could countermeasure and outrun the proton M mortars, and they could outrun the smart torpedoes and get to fire at something until stuff caught up with them, and poof.
That's kind of depressing.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
it's
again,
the
only two
prototype.
prototypes, so they reinforce each other, and that's an elite target. I'm actually hoping that's way harder than an elite target's going to be.
Yeah, I had a Macara that my Macara is not quite ranked. I took it and the protos in, and it died straight away, but the protos actually killed a few ships before they died. So
See? I'm actually hoping that the prototypes might be able to do 80s. I don't know if it's going to be, economically effective, but I think they can actually. I'm hoping they can actually kill 80s.
that would be nice. Oh, I don't think I would take hunters in these, though.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're gonna find out.
Guys, is it true that Bounty is next weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Holy
believe so.
crap!
Yeah, and I noticed that on their little post up for what's going on next week, there was no refactor mentioned.
So we had a 6-day long raid, and then VXP weekend. We're not going to have like a wow bounty already.
Dude, I mean, come on, man. We had bounty that was a grind, right? We had the FM that was like cuckoo points, then bounty and FM, and then we had the 6-day raid, and then we have VXP with another cuckoo FM. What, 8
Super short
million?
FM.
I mean, but with all those extra points that if you want to get everything,
For turrets and
what
stuff.
happened? What happened to 6 targets and we're done? And then we have bounty again, which is going to be a grind fest because they refuse to touch the mechanics of a completely broken system. I mean, I
don't think it's that they refuse; they just can't get it done. In the amount of time we wanted them to. I think they're working on it.
Well, that's
PvP
fine, but
I'm
then
not
they need
talking
to
about the
But maybe
PvP
stop
refactor.
releasing freaking bounty in the meantime. That's my whole point.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about the PvP refactor. I was talking about bounty
sorry.
itself. They can do something to bounty to at least make it somewhat palatable, but they're not. I mean, would they give us an extra 100 points last time on the top end targets? That's not going to help. There are things that they could do. They just don't want to.
And the replicas now are going to have concussive turrets and radioactive turret throwers and all the whole shebang. And, it's just going to be harder and harder to find even replicas you can hit.
Yep. What they should have done is once they recognized that PvP was absolutely, completely borked, they should have just stopped bounty for a little bit, ate it.
Fully agree. Full stop. Suspend bounty for 2 months, 3 months, however long it takes.
Yep.
Put the
Now,
content
question,
in
guys,
raid,
should the-
put the content in FM, or even like replace bounty with a PvP TLC, whatever.
Should the 50 unidentifieds be similar to what a lower level target we'd be looking at in the raid?
No.
We're comparing the 100s to what we're thinking is going to be in the next raid. Would the 50 represent lower?
But is the 50 a skirmish target?
Yes.
Oh. So maybe. I don't know.
I'm just asking because I'm willing to throw in hunters and prototypes into a 50 and see if they have any effect in there. You know what I mean?
I heard that things died just as fast in that, which is really depressing given that it gives half the VXP. But I also don't know if that was just blank hulls or not, so. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see how the raid goes in a couple weeks. see how Bounty goes next week. I mean,
Well, that one we know is going to go badly.
Yeah, we know that one's just going to be. I mean, it's not going to go badly for the people that love PvE and love grinding. I mean, they're going to be in heaven. They'll be able to sit all weekend and just grind away. But you know, I got a life. I can't dedicate that much time.
Yeah, I just came to the conclusion like top bounty prizes are not for me because I have a life, as you said.
Yeah.
So I score however many points I can, 30, 40K, I can do without much effort, you know, and that's it.
All right.
Yep. Get everything else later. And I mean, and that's the thing that's kind of, you know, we had this is a conversation that came up last year, and apparently we're going to end up having it again, because what exactly are they asking their player base to do? Because between the FM now, I mean, and then Bounty, and then Raid, and I'm not sure how much time do they expect us to spend on this? Because that's not even counting the chores. I mean, heaven forbid you need to actually get chores done and get, you know, uranium or titanium or base parts or anything. I mean, how much time do they expect us to actually be spending on the game? Because, you know, FM was, I mean, Ren, how much was it? Like 5-6 targets, we could get everything? Is that how it was?
It should be a long
I
time
can't even
ago,
remember. I mean, it wasn't even a long time ago when FM first changed, right?
Yeah.
And then
Hey, when it was
slowly,
2 rounds per week, I used to do 3 top targets, reset, 3 top targets, FM done.
yeah. I mean, it used to be the FM would take me 20 minutes,
Mhm.
you know? And now it's, I mean, what the hell? And I know I've tweaked the hell out of my fleet to be able to do all sorts of dumb stuff, but even still, I mean, I can do it. I just don't want to do that much time of FM.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I sat down yesterday, and I think it was about an hour and a half, with my Inferno Dragons on 120s and my Icebreakers on 111s, and I scored 4.2 million points, right? But the concern I have is just, and that's something back when they changed the FM store, and the good thing was that it wasn't a forced ladder anymore. You could pick whatever you wanted, but then it also meant that they could insert however many things they wanted at whatever price they wanted.
Yep.
And, you know, we were all concerned that they were just going to start inflating the price as they do with raids and bounty. And bingo, you see now you have, you know, what? You need 5-6 million points if you want to clean up T5?
I remember saying it in the blog that I wrote about the FM change, and I had a private message from someone that told me I was being negative, that wasn't going to happen.
Ha!
So, you know,
Ha!
I'm just too negative, I guess.
Yeah, right? Or maybe not dumb enough?
Oh, beats me. But we are where we're at now is how many points we need this week for FM? I don't even remember. I mean, I blasted through to get the
2 million for the turret, 1.1 million for that RAA. You guys had 3.1.
No, radioactive.
2 explosive something resistors at 1.2 million each. Like I said, it's about 5-6 million points. Then 1.2 million for the chest.
So just let me see. Just
6 million points easy.
Just for tier 5, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 9.2 million just for the stuff in tier 5 in prize pool 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
no,
of course,
no,
people
I take
will
that
say,
back. Wait,
hey, you
no.
don't need to grab it all. You don't
Go
have
higher
to.
than that.
It's
You got
more than
more
that.
than
I missed.
Higher than
Yeah,
that.
I missed 3.1 million.
You're at close to
That's
16.
ridiculous.
If you were caught up all the time, you
6,
wanted everything that was available, you're close to
9,
16.
10, 11. It's 12.3 million for
Obviously, my
everything
mic
in
is-
prize 5. 12.3. I heard you, Mike. You had said
Okay.
16.
All
I was doing math in my head. So
No, that's okay. I just
Um,
my mic was working on.
13.3 million in just prize pool 5. Now I know, yeah, people are going to say, hey, you know, you don't have to get everything, but here's the thing. How many weeks of FM do we have?
3.
3, yeah. And you could get one prize and the chest. It's true. You can.
Right.
You don't
But
need
then
to get it all.
you'd be behind, because if you only got one explosive resistor, for example, and then the chest, you'd still miss out on the skirmish battery, the reinforced ablative, the radioactive, and the aftermath launcher,
Oh, but
right?
the skirmish battery is the new.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. If you wanted to get all the new stuff, that 13 whatever million is just for the new stuff just to
If
get the
you
stuff.
want the radioactive turret, if you want the explosive resistors, yeah, then
You're either gonna get the points and get them now, or you're gonna be continually behind, and then they're gonna add more. So at what point, at what point this it's not even a catch up mechanic; it's a fall behind mechanic now. It's gone completely opposite of what the intent of the FM
catch
was.
up are tiers 1 to 4 at most. I mean, tier 5, it's the hamster wheel.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not amused by the FM.
I do not like the fact that they keep on upping the prize value. Like, okay, well, this is special. It used to be 1.1 million. Now it's 2. For, like, okay, 1 turret or this or that other thing. That appears to be an issue to me as well. The fact that it's sort of like, this isn't that special. This is not, some sort of flagship. This is just sort of like normally what they would release. So, the armor, at 2. Why wasn't it 1.1? Why are they basically doubling the price of it?
I guess we have to think that there's some value in it. I mean, that's just...
Yeah, I mean, there's some value in it, but why are they? I don't know the reaction that we should have. Because we can't boycott it, right? I mean, I guess we could, but what's the reaction that the player base should have as far as like? They just keep on upping the prices of everything, and I mean,
post on forums, send in tickets.
Send in tickets about what?
Post on forums and send in tickets.
Wow. Okay. Maybe not banned from the forums.
I mean, the ticket support is customer service. Okay, It's customer service. If you're disgruntled with something, you can let them know via that channel. You can let them know via the forums if you're not banned. You can let them know via Discord.
Okay. All good.
And Border Reaver just said something in chat, and I'm 100% with him. He just said they keep doubling it because enough people are spending to do it or doing it. So, for as long as they see enough people running on the hamster wheel, spending time, spending money to get it, they'll keep adding items. That's the sad reality. Are people buying what I'm putting on the shelf? Put more on the shelf.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was trying to say.
Buying part, the coining part is the part that does it, I think. I mean, because we weren't supposed to have
whatever. If they see the items are leaving the shelves with time or coin, they'll keep putting items in there.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more to do with coining, because otherwise they wouldn't have put in blitz targets for,
True.
I mean, we weren't supposed to have that at all. That was the whole point of expeditions, was so we didn't have it was supposed to be a coin-free blitz option. That was the point of expeditions, and they kind of went back on that one. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, back in the day when they changed the graphics, everyone flipped their shit. And I mean, everybody flipped their shit. That was fixed, and not only was it fixed, we got an apology from Will. I don't see this community doing that again, but if they do, I'm sure the reaction would be similar. It's like writing your congressman, right? If you want something done, grease that damn wheel. If you don't, just let him vote whichever way he wants to vote when he's in there.
Okay, I just ran the prototypes and then I ran the hunters into a 50.
You sick bastard.
The prototypes ate it. I mean, they just walked the 50 like it was nothing.
Really?
The hunters were only able to kill about 3/4 of a target.
That's good to know, at least.
Yeah. So those should be viable fleets for the lower level targets in the raid, if the 50 is any indication of what we're looking at for lower level targets.
Good to know.
Fair assessment.
Okay, fellas. I'm going to drop. Great chat. Have a great weekend, everyone.
You
Night,
too.
Ren.
Take care, Ron.
Nice.
Later, Ren. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I got to end this show at some point quite soon. You know, and I've got you know, circumstances surrounding me.
I'm getting
So,
nervous.
Why are you getting nervous?
Well, that'd be the dead man switch here.
Yeah. So you would have to post a link. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah.
That's not. You know. Yeah. It's not
Post the
reasoning.
link. Post the link. Let's go to the after
I've been
show.
posting the link the whole time.
Well, okay, we're
All-
going to
all I ask
that's
them to
fine.
do is-
No, it was different. No, it's kind of.
All I want to say is, Hefe, you make certain you keep safe, and I want to say that my prayers are going out to everybody that's over there on the East Coast getting hammered right now. Hope y'all are safe and making it through.
Yeah, I'm drinking Bush Ice and vodka. Is that what you mean by getting hammered?
You know what I'm talking about, Hefe.
I'm just kidding. I'm giving you a hard time.
Did you say Bush Ice and vodka?
Yeah. That's what I said.
Oh, we definitely need to get you some help.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good.
If
It's all good, but you know, I wasn't sure what he meant by getting hammered.
if it gets too bad, put your red shoes on, click your heels together 3 times, and say you wish you were somewhere else.
Nah, I mean, my big problem right now is like I got a puppy that's about to be 4 months old, and he wants to go pee in the yard like like every half an hour, and things are getting like tricky outside. And I'm like, I don't want him out there, and I don't want me out there.
Just put an extra long leash
know
on
what's
him,
gonna
open
happen?
the door and fly him like a kite.
I was gonna say, you know what's gonna happen? He's gonna get drunk enough where he's gonna put a parachute on the back of the dog with a big long ass rope, and he's gonna be flying him out in the storm.
Yeah.
No.
If
You
two of
don't
us came up
understand-
with that, Hefe, you know.
No, because the last time we had like a storm like this, the green pine cones. You guys familiar with those? The new ones?
Yep.
That they haven't turned. The last storm we had, they were creating these huge. I saw these holes in the yard, and so green pine cones about on these trees is about 6 inches long, and they were getting driven 8 inches into the dirt.
Oh yeah,
And
those are for a
so-
window too.
Yeah. But I don't want to be out there like letting him take a leak. And these things are coming down. If you understand what I'm saying. Because if they hit me, that's not good. You understand?
Use
what I'm
the force, Hefe.
Yeah.
Use the
saying?
force.
Yeah. But you understand what those are going to do if they actually hit you as opposed to hitting the dirt. If they're going 8
yeah.
inches in the dirt. Yeah. Not happy about that. So.
Well, they probably wouldn't go 8 inches in the dirt here. It's all clay.
No, this is clay. This clay is a clay sand mixture down in like the Charleston area. Yeah, it's
Yeah, no, this is just solid clay, dude. You hit this, you're hitting a brick.
So
It's gonna be Well, an umbrella will help. Yeah, that'll do
Yeah.
that's what I'll do.
Just wear your tinfoil hat, you'll be right with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure tinfoil is going to work, but yeah. Do we have any? So the reason I've been gone through so much of the show is I'm trying to get this puppy emptied. So he's not, wanting to pee at some later point. So it's,
Hide the water too, then.
that's what I'm, he was drinking water. I find, one
He's
leg
stealing
and,
Hefe's beer. He's gonna be peeing every friggin' 5 seconds.
No, just as long as I just really hope this thing gets overnight. I hope it doesn't, because dealing with the dogs because there's 3 dogs here, letting them go out to go to the bathroom over these kind of circumstances, not good. So, but do we have any like parting words as far as anything we missed or whatnot? We've been going for an hour and 45 minutes, so yeah.
No, I mean I think we covered it. I think the biggest concerns people have are repair times and the amount of time that we're having to invest in the game now. I think that's kind of what we kind of pulled out all of this, I think.
Okay.
Amen to that.
I'm hoping we get a break after this bounty coming up.
No breaks.
After this bounty, I mean, we're supposed to get the refactor in October, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how much of a break we're going to get. I mean, that's going to
No,
be
they-
refitting time.
I
Are they
mean,
going to do refactor and then they're going to then go to the next OP level? That would be mean, right?
That's why I'm not opening any chests.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying the combination of the two would not be. That wouldn't be player first, right?
I don't know, man. I mean, I understand player first doesn't mean no content, but I would hope that player first would mean that they would take into consideration the concerns that the player base has. And the two biggest ones that I keep hearing over and over again are, time commitment and repair times. And I've not really seen movement on those. I mean, I have seen movement, but it's going the opposite way, not the way that the player base wants. So I don't know. I'm a little confused.
You know, I'm going to throw my tinfoil hat on here, and I'm going to think. Here's what I think, and this is just a thought, and you all can shoot it down if you want. But they're coming out with the refactor in October, right?
And Dr. Death looks really good in tinfoil hat. I mean, if you want to see it on Pinterest, take a look. I mean, he's just on that tinfoil hat. I mean,
think,
the areolas are a little much, but go for it, dude.
Oh Lord.
Go for it.
Oh Lord. Oh no. Okay, happy. Anyways, I really think the refactor is going to be OP11 and coming out with the tier 8 tech. I think that's the way they're going to go to try and fix the balance. They're going to say, okay, we're just going to scrap tier 7 and we're going to start over.
Well, that would be the hard reset that we had talked about, and I don't know that they're going to actually want to do that. Because I mean, if they do that and they negate everything that has come out this year, I mean, we've already done that once. It's not going to go over well. We lost a lot of players over it last time. We'll lose a lot more players over it this time, I think, especially with the way that everything else is.
But the end of October, the 1st of November is when we always get the new OP.
I think one time it was December, one time it was like October, November. I don't know that it's set in stone. I mean, we're not going to know until, we know, but I think, I mean, one of the things that Harbin had said in that thing was that he doesn't want to see anything in the game that's put in just because it's going to make money, right? And I keep going back to the damn blitz targets for the the premium resources, and I don't see anything in that introduction to the game other than that. So I'm kind of, I don't know.
I don't at this point. I mean, I don't see them listening to the player base. They really aren't. Players definitely are not first. And the whole line of they don't want anything in the game just to make coin, that's bogus. On so many levels, it's not funny. So I really don't think for them that they would be concerned if they scrap everything 7 and just roll out the next OP. I really don't think they would care because they figure we're going to just keep on playing and just whine. That's the way they're looking at the community right now. We're just going to keep whining, but we'll still show up tomorrow to play the game. And I think that's the attitude Kix has right now with his player base.
And that's my tinfoil hat I'm sharing there.
That's not you.
Oh, but it looks like my hat.
No. You gotta show us live. That's not you. We know that. So, besides Toxic's tinfoil hat, is there in Dr. Cannon Fodder? You haven't really talked about much.
It's been quiet.
Hello.
Thank God.
Oh, fuck off.
That was too easy.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to say? You know.
No, I've just mostly been listening. We were doing the live math and whatever, so I was kind of just taking it all in and playing the game a little bit. But my thoughts on the refactor is, I mean, it's be curious what they end up doing. But I kind of figured, and like I think I touched on this, I think on last week's show. I feel like they're going to put something in that'll make us want OP11, because right now, not too many people at a reasonably high level give a crap about OP11. Like, why do we need it? We don't need it. You know, we can stop most things now. So I figure they'll do the refactor and hopefully make things viable again, and then in the process give us some sort of impetus to actually want to upgrade the base, because there's not, I mean, other than a few kind of niche fleets, there's not a whole lot going on.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he's referring to you, but I think Sixpack's referring to you as a male model.
I'm definitely not that, so that's for sure.
I'm not sure if you.
And unless we start having like the plus size male models, then I'm your guy.
There you go. I mean, you know, yeah, this show goes in multiple directions, but I'm not sure we're going to go there as far as, you know, you being a male model. But yeah, I'm not sure what he's referring to. But the 10
there we go. We got clarification.
Yeah.
So really, John, you don't think I could be a male model?
So what John's saying, I guess, is that he wants to see Dr. Death?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm gonna go walk away that way instead.
I'll tell you what, if you want to have nightmares the rest of your life, yeah, that's fine. But
oh my god.
Well, I mean, we spent Wednesday talking about Hefe's junk, so you know, nightmares are already present.
It's the next prize, but yeah.
A couple of weeks ago.
Oh, that's the next prize. I ain't playing no more.
It's all good.
That'll be your flagship.
Hold on, I'm trying to find Harbin's thing here. So they want to ask: does it enhance the player experience? Does it make the player's life better? Does it make the player's life easier? And does it make the player's life more fun? And then monetization. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 things that he put into that post, and I don't know that. I don't know.
I just picture his face and his tone when he did the show years ago, the Battle Vortex show, where he just looked annoyed to be there, and that's literally what I see when he writes stuff. It's just like, I'm writing this because I have to or whatever.
I remember how he used to talk in comms, so every time I read that, I include various cuss words here and there in the discussion, because you know he was a shit talker, man.
I remember he used to hit my base all the time, and then after he hit my base and bubbled me, asked me to unbubble after he'd launched multiple rockets into my base. You know, not the the launch pad rockets, and then he wanted me to unbubble because he failed. Yeah,
I mean, look, as odd as this sounds, I think if he was playing the game would be in a much better state right now. Because I mean, when he played, he was a shit talker. I don't know that he was, all that great, but at least he had the mentality of battle pirates back then, and I think that's kind of something that we've lost a little bit of.
Yeah, he was sort of like Liam, right?
He quit playing the game when someone sank his yacht.
What?
Will Harbin quit playing the game when his yacht got sank.
Yeah. I mean, who knows when he quit? I mean, but yeah. But we should we're going on 2 hours, and I don't know. I think we should go to the after show. A lot of people have negative opinions about Harbin. I don't. He is what he is, and
No, I don't really have a negative opinion of the guy. I mean, to me, even really the company, which is probably ridiculous to most people, but I look at it simple. The guys they're all trying to make money, and we're willing to let them. We're all here. We're all agree to be here, and we all pay with our money to be here, Or
actually
will we caught
trying-
up?
We're actually trying to help them make more money. That's the worst part about this, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if
that's
Harbin,
the tricky part
Harbin
for me
yeah.
as far as doing the show. Yeah.
if Harbin came back and played the game, I think things would change dramatically. Because people can have whatever opinion of him that they want, right? The fact that he was a shit talker, I actually like, because that was battle. I mean, we used to always talk shit. You just talk mad shit in comms. You just talk mad shit. I mean, we had on the forums, we had a place to talk shit to other alliances and sectors and stuff, and call out other people. Now we have a rule that you can't, name and shame or whatever the fuck that is. I mean, we used to do that all the time, daily.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Daily.
Now we have Facebook for that.
We had a forum, like a sub forum dedicated to that.
Yeah, and then all those people got banned from the forums, and yeah, whatever. Yeah, but all right. Like I'm saying, I'm trying to take it to the after show. Everybody's invited. What?
I don't know. I
You
just
don't
said
invite
yeah.
everybody? Is that what you're saying, Get Butter?
No, I just said yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
You know me. I
Well,
random
I'm gonna
noises.
try and end this show, and if anybody wants to join the after show, and because we've been going for 2 hours, that's enough.
That's nothing. We can do 4.
But yeah.
We have before.
I didn't go pee all the time. I mean, I could walk away and come back.
No, it's
Well,
fine. I think we've left pertinent a while back. So
Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Friday night show. Maybe we'll do an emergency show between now and whatever. But I think we've given you some clues on VXP weekend, whether they're good or bad, or what used to be good. And I hope you all are having a good time. And I posted the link on the right hand side, and feel free to join us. And we'll appreciate your participation.
Have fun.
Hey, everybody.
all right.
Night.
Night, people.
Night all.
Who